Do you guys hear that? Hey guys, welcome back to another vlog and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Marina. I like to make videos on health, wellness, spirituality, my life in London, and yeah, just everything in between. I'm currently out here in the beautiful Kensington Gardens, which is part of Hyde Park here in Kensington. It's such a beautiful day and I thought I would record this video. Oh, hello. There's a puppy. Hi, sweetie. Anyway, yeah, I'm out here in Hyde Park and I looked on the weather and it looks like it's going to be raining for the next 10 days. So I thought I would come outside, enjoy some of the nice weather, and I thought I'm gonna record a video for you guys out here because how boring is it to always be inside recording videos? So in my last vlog, which I will put a link to it somewhere here, I mentioned that I now live in Notting Hill. And this is such a huge milestone for me because I've been wanting to live here for such a long time. I'm not new to London. I moved here 2 years ago and I've been reflecting a lot on the last 2 years of my life. And I realized that there's some things that I just wish I knew before I moved here, and I thought I would make this video for anyone who might be thinking of moving to London, have just moved here and you're figuring your shit out, or maybe you're just curious about what it's like to live in London and things that you should know. For context, I am Canadian. I've been living here for 2 years on a Tier 5 youth mobility visa. It's a visa that Canadians and Australians can get, which allows you to work here and live here as free as you want. You can really do anything, live anywhere. You can travel in and out of the UK. It's a pretty free-flowing visa and it's quite a blessing to have it. So it's something you can only get between, I think, the ages of 18 and 30. So I moved here when I was 27. I'm 29 now. But anyway, this video is all about the 5 things that I wish I knew before making the jump to live here. Okay. The first one is about money, and I feel like this is something that is always on someone's mind, especially when they're moving across the whole ocean. How much money do you need? How much money do you need to save? How much money do you need to prove for your visa? So I believe I had to prove that I had £2,500, which was equivalent to like almost 5,000 Canadian dollars. And they don't need to see any like work statements or anything within your bank statement. I think they just need to see like that amount is in your bank account just so they can see that you can like okay. Just so they can see that you can like survive here, I guess. I don't know. But what I wish I knew is how much it really costs to live here, but also I wish that I had more in my savings. When I landed here, I didn't have a job lined up. I didn't have a lot of money actually. I probably had just over £5,000 when I arrived here, which is not a lot of money. And that put me in survival mode when I landed. It made me really anxious. It made me, right away hunting for a job, any kind of work. And it kind of dampened my initial experience here because I was so like in panic mode and in survival. Like all I could think about was how I was going to survive. I also didn't have a place to live. So I was like in complete panic mode. I also moved here very spontaneously. It was within a span of 3 months that I made the decision, applied for my visa, and then moved here. So that didn't really give me enough of a strong foundation to really start saving properly. So if you are thinking about moving here, and you want to do it as quick as possible, I mean, I would give it at least 6 months. I feel like 3 months was a bit too quick. I would give it at least 6 months up to a year for you to really like save your money, be like a little squirrel, collect all your nuts and your acorns so that when you land here, you can just live and allow yourself to live a little bit more. Even if you have a job lined up, like having that extra money will just make you feel safe and secure and allow you to just experience more without the fear of wondering like how much something is going to be or where your money is going to come from next. So speaking of work, my number 2 thing I wish I knew was about actually having a bit more direction in my career choices here. The 2 fields that I am most expertise in is film and television and health and wellness. So those 2 are quite separate, and I was kind of pursuing both at the same time when I landed here, mostly film and television. And luckily this was all pre-pandemic, so there was tons of networking events, there was tons of things happening on like Meetup, and just, it's London, things are constantly happening. You just walk down the street, you'll end up finding something to do or someone to meet. But because I was in this panic and survival mode, I was looking for like just anything to get me by, and I hated that because I moved here with the intention to start a new life, to have a new lifestyle, and I felt like I was kind of reverting back to old ways, to when I was like 21, when I just wanted any kind of job. Luckily, I found a temp job that gave me the kind of life and lifestyle that I was wanting and desiring for London, but that took me 2 months to find. And what's really great about this visa, I said this at the beginning of the video, is that you can work in anything with this visa. So if you are younger, if you are a student maybe, you can use this visa to work in cafes, coffee shops, pubs, working in retail. But I did that already. I did that all throughout my early 20s, and I didn't want to do that here. It just didn't feel right. It didn't feel aligned for who I wanted to be here. And honestly, I even tried it. I tried working at a coffee shop, and I just knew it wasn't who I was anymore. So I let that go. This visa is great for younger people because you can work in cafes, you can work in pubs, and you can get that experience. And I don't see anything wrong with that. In fact, working in pubs and cafes in my early 20s really built some character in me and some skills that I think I'll always carry with me. But it just wasn't who I wanted to be here. So I wish I had a better sense of direction when it came to my work here. Okay, number 3. My foot's falling asleep. Ouch. Number 3. The renting system. Oh my gosh, the things that I wish I knew about the renting system here. So when I first moved here, I really wanted to live on my own. I was so committed. I was like, yes, even if I don't have a job, even if I don't have enough money in my account, I want to live in my own flat. I'm definitely a big believer in the law of attraction, the powers of the universe, and I believe that anything is possible, and the only limitations are the ones that we have in our minds. So I was like, I don't care if it seems like it can't work, it's gonna happen. And I'm glad that I decided to pursue that because it really taught me so much. You definitely need a guarantor if you have any kind of family in the UK. It's definitely a good idea to get them to co-sign a lease. I didn't have that. So a lot of landlords wanted me to pay, and I'm not kidding you, 6 months to a year's rent up front, which is just plain robbery. But I get it. They need to trust that I can pay the rent. But that wasn't even on top of council tax and all the other bills. So that's another thing. Council tax here is something that's kind of like property tax in Canada, and I think it's the same in the States. But paying for your council tax basically helps with the upkeep of your council or your borough. So that means that it helps pay for the bin men, it helps pay for the cleaning of the parks, the cleaning of the streets. I think also the maintenance of like street lamps, things like that. I don't know all the things it pays for, but I do know that the higher you pay, the more you kind of get. Like, you get what you pay for depending on the council. But to go back to the beginning where I didn't know any of this, and I also didn't know how I was going to find a place on my own. Luckily, London is actually packed with these agencies, and what they do is they help them get them set up in apartments, living with other people. So you can live in flats with like 1 or 2 other people, or you can live in houses up to 7 people, which that was not going to happen for me. I love people, I'm very social, but I also just love being like with myself when I get home, you know what I mean? So just living with 7 people just did not sit right. But I gave this one agency a chance that had an option for me to live in a flat with 1 other person. And here's why I fully believe in the laws of the universe, because maybe I didn't get specifically like a 1-bedroom apartment to myself, but my flatmate moved out 2 months later, and no one moved in for a good 6 or 7 months afterwards. And because I was part of this agency, I only had to pay for my room. I didn't have to pay for the entire flat without somebody in it. So I had a 2-bedroom apartment to myself for like 7 months. It was amazing. And that's just a little lesson in the laws of the universe. The law of attraction is that you may have an idea of what you think you want, and the universe is always listening. They're going to provide in one way or another, but you just have to be open to how it's going to happen. Okay, number 4. What I wish I knew before moving to London is about the bank accounts here. Opening up a bank account. Did you know you can't open a bank account here until you have proof of residence, and that means proving that you've had bills sent to your apartment and that they're addressed to you, but mainly an address and proof of work. So I didn't have a bank account for 2 months. I was always exchanging money through my Canadian account. However, there is an online banking account that you can get called Monzo, And I did get that, but I found it kind of difficult to exchange my Canadian money into a Monzo account because there isn't a whole lot of places where there's like a Monzo quote bank. Like what I had to do was go to this sketchy convenience store and give them my money and like just pray that they put it in my account. So it wasn't until 2 months when I found my temporary job and I was already living in my apartment for like a month and I got my first bill sent to me was when I was able to finally open up a bank account. So maybe before you move here, maybe it's best to look into a Monzo account, see how you can transfer some money into that account, or just have a lot of cash on you. That's what I ended up doing. I would just have lots of cash. I would pay for almost everything in cash, or I would use my credit card, which wasn't always ideal, but you know, it was something to just help in the moment. And the fifth thing that I wish I knew is actually how big it is. This might sound so lame. You know, I visited here many times before and I know how massive London is, but I don't think you really know until you live in the city. What I mean by this is now when someone tells me that it's going to take about 40-45 minutes to get somewhere, I don't even blink. I just think that's normal, that's nothing. But what I really wish I knew is more about the different boroughs and the different areas of the city. You know, when I first moved here, I actually stayed in an Airbnb for my first month, and that was in West Hampstead. And I didn't know much about that area. It just, I don't know, it looked really nice. It was a good price on Airbnb and I went for it and it was a pretty area. And then my actual apartment that I moved into was in Clapham, particularly Clapham High Street. And for those who know that Clapham, especially on the Clapham High Street, has a certain reputation. And that reputation is very heavy on the party going. Like every weekend is just like you're at Freshers Week in your first year of university. It's just loud. I found it very dirty. Oh my God, siren. Speaking of sirens, I feel like Clapham, like if anyone's watching this who's lived in Clapham or knows Clapham High Street, please vouch for me when I say this. I feel like the ambulances and the police cars on the Clapham High Street have the most shrieking, high-frequency sirens I have ever heard, and I think I'm traumatized from it. And because I live basically right on the high street, that piercing sound, those sirens would pierce my ears, my body in the middle of the night, and it was just not the most aligned experience. Hello. Okay, so my card filled up pretty quickly recording that video. So I just had to run home, empty my card, and I wasn't gonna go all the way back to the park just to film the ending. So thank God I finished at the right time. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. If this video did help you out, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I will definitely be posting more London content, hopefully a bit more travel now that some travel is opening up again. I'm also really interested in health and wellness, spirituality, other kind of lifestyle content, so expect a little bit of that in between as well. And yeah, honestly, open to suggestions. Anything you guys want to see, leave a comment down below. And if you are watching this as a new Londoner, or you've been living in London for a few years like me, let me know what are some things that you wish you knew down in the comments below. I think a really good video idea for another part of this series would be 5 things that I did right when moving to London, because I think a lot of people like to talk about like what's gone wrong or what went wrong or what they wish they knew, but what about all the things that like are good, the things that we did right? And I think we need to live in a world where we focus more on the positive of everything, and that's what I want to focus on. So I'm not saying any of this stuff that I wish I knew was bad, it just would have been more helpful. But at the end of the day, you can't really know things like this until you actually live in the city. You know, if I want to move to Russia one day, I can watch all the videos in the world about how to move to Russia and the things I need to know, but I won't fully understand it and be able to integrate it until I actually go to Russia and try and live in Russia. You know what I mean? So these are just things I personally wish I knew, but I'm glad that I had to experience them in order to really understand them. So thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate you tuning into this video. Thanks so much for subscribing to my channel, giving this video a thumbs up. And until my next video, I am wishing you all the health, wealth, love, and success and happiness in the world. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.